All right, so before we get into our Seoinage, which is like the main like sport jiu-jitsu technique we're gonna do, we've been doing just a little bit of like that self-defense scenario takedown, so we'll sort of review that a little bit. So as Ian is instigating shit, be it at the bus stop or be it, you know, at the Bluebird Tavern where Yoonji goes or wherever, right? In general, again, we don't want to be in a confrontation if we don't have to, so I want to do my best to de-escalate, but I need to sort of be in a position where if he does make it impossible for me to, you know, avoid it, like I need to be ready to protect myself, right? So what we were working on recently was I'll have one hand out to sort of tell him like, hey, stop. And this also manages the distance. I know that it's going to be very hard for him to, unless he has like a long weapon or something like that, it's very hard for him to do any damage to me when he's so much beyond arm's length away. If he starts getting inside of arm's length and I don't have room to back up, or he can come at me faster than I back up, that's a problem. So I got to be ready to go at that point. So that's kind of what this arm is doing. The other arm, you almost never want both arms extended. This is really hard for me to do anything, and I'm pretty vulnerable with both. So the other arm kind of like back here, like, hey man, I don't want any problems, like whatever. This looks like I'm de-escalating. It doesn't look like I want to fight, but if I need to block a punch, I can do that. Or if I need to make a fist to potentially throw a punch, it's already in pretty close proximity to being able to do that, right? So something like this, okay? And as long as he stays more than arm's length away, I need to be like, okay, like I'm okay. Like as long as we're keeping this, like I'm all right. If he's slowly coming at me and I can kind of back away and keep arm's length or more, then I'm probably in good shape, right? But if he comes at me a little bit faster than that, or if there's a wall behind me or something, then that's a problem. So what we were kind of working on is, you know, us as grapplers, we want to be able to get into the clinch and take this down to the ground. That doesn't mean we can't use a couple of strikes or fake strikes to at least set up an opportunity to get into my clinch. So what we're going to have is Ian, just for the drill, have one hand up as if it was like a focus mitt, even though we don't have focus mitts on. So as he's approaching me, I'm like, dude, I don't want any problems. When I feel like he's getting close enough that I can't back up, I'm going to hit a double jab, which hopefully in a self-defense situation would get him to cover up or something like that, right? I'd be like, and I want him to cover up. As he covers up, that's exactly what I want. I'm going to crash in and hope he's going to kind of reach around me, which is what most people will do, so that I can get my bear hug. I get my nice inside position. From here, I'm going to step around the corner, and look how I put my knee so my knee is touching his leg and feeding him forward. I've sort of buckled his knee, and my head is making him lean backwards a lot. From here, follow him down, ideally into something like a half guard, so I can start coming over to 3/4 mount or mount and be in a good top position. Side control might also work, but in a dynamic situation, people are twisting and turning, maybe they roll on top of you. This sort of 3/4 mount or mount is probably a better position to try to be in from there. Okay? So let's look again. So I'm here, I'm like, dude, I don't want any problems, but I'm like, okay, he's closing too much. 1, 2, crash in. So I'm covering up like this so that I'm guaranteed to be the inside position. It's like, you've seen those big, like, they're not a bulldozer, I don't know what they're called, but they've got like a pointed thing in the front, like a wedge. So, what is that? Sure, I don't know. So, or like a snow plow or something, right, where it's like a wedge shape to make sure I get the inside position. So I'm here, my elbows are in to make sure I get the inside position. Then I'm going to wrap him up. I can go to either side of the body. I can come around to this side too, is fine. Cinch him in and get him to go backwards. Come down and look to at least maybe get to this 3/4 mount, if not a full mount. Even half guard is still pretty good. I mean, if we're a grappler and they're not a grappler, and I get to half guard top, I'm in a pretty good position to protect myself from there, right? Let alone if I can progress to mount or anything like that. So we'll get just a few of those before we start working on our Seoinage. Are there any questions before we get hands on it a little bit? No? All right, 1, 2, 3.